Alright, so with the advent of Eldraine cards coming out, we have a couple new ones. One, which I haven't played thus far, is Utopia Sprawl. It's an enchantment that gets to go on a forest, and when it DTBs, we get to choose a color. And basically, that forest will be able to tap for that additional color whenever it taps for mana as well. So it'll basically make it into a 2 mana tapping land. So that's pretty cool. We do like having that. It will help us ramp things out. And pretty importantly, a lot of the times with Utopia Sprawl, we're going to want to tap for green since this is a sleeper green devotion deck running Old Growth Troll, Cavalier of Thorns, and I guess technically Wrenn and Realm Breaker also helps for the green color. And we have 3 Nykthos Shrine to Nyxes to try to do our thing. And just get a little mana advantage there. And the reason that we want to do this is because one angle for our deck is to play Storm the Festival here. We want to speed this one out as fast as we can, which is basically a card that allows us to look at the top 5 and put 2 permanents onto the battlefield. So we can use this to cheat a lot of mana, which is cool. This can also be flashbacked, which is great, and we're really only going to get to that point if we make use of this green devotion. Now, the other thing that we can ramp out here, other than One Ring, is Doubling Season, a oldie but a goodie coming here in the Wilds of Eldraine. So, if you are a Commander player, which, statistically speaking, you probably are, I guess, Doubling Season needs no introduction, but if you do not know this card and you're coming from other formats where it's not as played, well, let's take a look at this thing. For 5 mana, you get an enchantment that basically doubles the tokens and doubles the counters that go on permanents you control. So this is good for a number of reasons. For one, if you were to make a Jace and have your Jace come in with... basically, if you get to ultimate your Jace, you would be making 4 copies of Jace instead of 2, which is just wild, and you'll have way more Planeswalkers than you could even deal with. And... that's just kind of one angle that you can go with it. But honestly, where you don't have Doubling Season in this deck for the token production at all, it's all for putting counters on permanents you control. And let's take a look at this. So basically, how the rules work and how Doubling Season generally is used in Commander is to have synergy with Planeswalkers, because when a Planeswalker enters the battlefield, technically it enters and then has counters put on top of it. So what that means is, if you have Doubling Season out and you play a Teferi, your Teferi comes in with 8 loyalty. And wouldn't you know it, that is enough to immediately activate his -8 at instant speed, because you can hold full control as you play him. And as soon as he hits the battlefield, you can, hold priority and activate that ability. So, basically, we just really, really, really would like to see a Doubling Season come down, because that makes all the cards in our hand very good. So not only do we have Teferi's Emblem, which is the -8, you can, whenever you draw, exile a permanent. This just pretty much closes most games. We also have Tamio Field Researcher. She's got a pretty cool -7, so once you play her, she comes in with 8 loyalty. You -7, and then she still has 1. You get an emblem that basically allows you to cast spells from your hand for free, and she also, on that -7, will draw you 3 cards as well, which is just nasty. And then finally, Wrenn and Realm Breaker. Basically, same sort of deal. It's a 7 mana ultimate, so it'll stick around once you use it. You're able to play lands and cast permanent spells from your graveyard. So not only do you get to cast all the things in your hand for free, you can recast anything that was dealt with, potentially getting more of these emblems, which is even better. Like, multiple Teferi emblems is extremely gross, and you can definitely do that with Wrenn and Realm Breaker, and hopefully we'll see that in this league. And then just generally, you can cast all this other stuff. Like, you can cast your Old Growth Trolls, get your One Rings back, get another Doubling Season if you really wanted to. Cavalier Thorns can come back, and basically all the things that we would want to get out in the late game or to cheat out early, we can just cast these again from our graveyard. And assuming that the game was long, eventually we'll kill someone with Teferi. Eventually we will run him over with a bunch of Old Growth Trolls and Cavaliers that just get to attack essentially for free because they can be recast. And it should be good. So to get to this point, we just basically need to ramp as hard as possible. So Utopia Sprawl is a good turn 1 play. Explore Omen of the Sea to look for cards and to try to get extra lands onto the battlefield. And basically we want to get to an Old Growth Troll and, if possible, get a Nykthos out so that we can take advantage of that devotion. So that's more or less the deck. We want to go big, and we want to make our opponent go home. I think let's just hop into some games and see what we can do. Before we do so, though, if you've been enjoying the content on the channel and want to support me, you can do so by dropping a like on the video or by commenting on it. Additionally, if you are new to the channel, you can show your support by subscribing. It's free and easy, and you'll get videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Alright, let's hop into some games and see what we can do. Here we go. Alright, round one. Well, we have our Utopia Sprawl, and a Wrenn and Realmbreaker is castable on turn, well, 3 in this case, because of Sparta's Headquarters being tapped. I'd say all in all, this is pretty solid. I'll keep it. Pretty high likelihood that we'll be able to get a Tamiyo out as well. I think what I'll do here is use Utopia Sprawl on Hallowed Fountain turn 2. This Explore almost changes things, but only because... Well, it doesn't, because Hallowed Fountain doesn't produce green, so it really doesn't matter. We have to get our green source out first. If I draw a land, I'll play Explore. Alright, we take a little bit of damage here. Kind of a lot, actually. Mono red is no joke. So it looks like we'll have to set up to just get the sacrificial Wrenn and Realmbreaker out, and I actually just realized that this Utopia Sprawl is cast incorrectly. Well, that's sad. Yeah, actually, okay, so mistakes here. I could have shocked Hallowed Fountain off of Sparta's Headquarters, cast Utopia Sprawl on Hallowed Fountain, naming green, then played Explore. It wouldn't have done anything, though, because I didn't draw land here, so it's all good. If I were to use my Explore now, it'd probably be bad. So let's just go ahead and run in Realmbreaker here. Let's take a look at trying to find a land here. We do find one. Let's go. Let's take the one that produces green. And here's a Temple Garden in tap. So hopefully this will take away one of their attackers for this turn. And we have 4 mana right now. Getting a little bit closer, but not quite. So we'll probably need to animate a land with Wrenn and Realmbreaker if possible. And try to Explore as well. Okay, opponent goes face. We might just be dead. Thinking that we're dead. Yeah, okay. Oh, aggro will go ahead and take round 1. That is kind of to be expected here. We do play some things that can remove creatures, but, you know, it's not really that much. Alright, well, with that being said, that was round 1. Let's hop into round 2. So I would definitely say that this deck kind of suffers from being pulled in 2 different directions, where we both have... where all of our removal really is just this Divine Purge, Wrenn and Realmbreaker, animating a land, or... just getting one of our 3/3s into the battlefield. And so I'm taking this hand here. It's just more or less decent. I was thinking about mentioning, before I was interrupted by text, that it's kind of interesting the ways that we deal with aggro in this deck. Really, we just have the Divine Purge. We have the option to animate lands with Wrenn and Realmbreaker. But there's just really not that much that can be done other than this. It's just hope that we get there. And if we do, it's great. If we don't, we're going to have problems, and it is what it is. Having this Divine Purge setup is pretty sweet. We'll get a Wrenn and Realmbreaker out here, and we can attack in for 3 potentially. However, seeing all of this potential burn on the table, I am just probably going to do something like this. We'll take a Doubling Season, though. Wrenn does help us find that, which is pretty sweet. And so our Nykthos here we'll have to just use to produce mana. Or we'll have to Legend Rule them to be able to cast this Doubling Season, I mean. However, if we are to draw a land here, I might just hold the Doubling Season and try to use Storm the Festival instead. Okay, we don't find it, so I will make a mana. Oh, yeah. There we go. I forgot that Nyx Lotus, or Wrenn of Realmbreaker does that for us. Let's go ahead and bonk him for 3 potentially, or, well, this could represent Strangle, that's not an instant speed. I think They have only one thing in the graveyard. I think we're actually pretty free to do this and get in for 3. So that's good. We'll go ahead and legend rule the Nykthos. Doesn't really matter that it's colored versus non-colored. Alright, here we go. Now we're doing it correctly. So there's Doubling Season. The next Planeswalker that we cast is able to ultimate immediately, which is great. Okay, so opponent has just resolved an expressive iteration here, and I am sitting just waiting for an extra mana to storm the festival with. Renin Realmbreaker is just kind of sitting around. We get to bonk our opponent if they don't have 2 mana up, or 2 or 3 mana up in order to kill our thing at instant speed. Here we're just going to look for a land here to try to get going. Alright. Scry 2, draw a card. And actually we do want to have another Storm the Festival, so we'll take that. And this feels pretty good. Okay. So let's play a Shocked Breeding Pool. We can make our least interesting land into a creature.
Allies everywhere.
And we're going for 3. Having hexproof actually is a thing that I always forget about with Renin Realmbreaker, but that's super strong. We'll just go ahead and cast Storm the Festival, see if they have any sort of counter magic for us, and they do not. And we actually find our other 2 Planeswalkers, which is great. So we're going to -8 right now, and then get the -7 on Tamiya right away and take out some lands here. We can take them completely off of blue, interestingly enough. Alright, let's do that. And now that we have the emblem from Teferi, this -7 that draws us 3 gets to trigger, which is great. And now we actually are able to do another Storm the Festival, which is cool too. The big score, sure. They'll draw some cards here, make some treasures. We get to draw our cards, and we'll take out some lands. Alright, and Omen of the Sea is also pretty solid here. Now that they're tapped out, I'll probably just go for another Storm the Festival. I don't really know if they're having any counter spells in this deck, but it's probably a good idea to check. Growth Troll, and hey, we got a Renin Realmbreaker as well. We'll keep the one with 8 counters and get a Ren emblem as well. So now we actually can cast our Fairy again next turn, which is cool. So we'll just go ahead and turn and ship it back to our opponent. We're looking pretty strong here. So we got 5 cards in hand. 2 of them are lands. And then from our graveyard, we can just continue to cast fairies. And what we'll basically do is just basically end up with our opponent exiling all of their permanents. Alright, cool. So we got a emblem out of every one of our planeswalkers as soon as round 2. Honestly, kind of thought that that would take the whole series to get done, so I'm glad we got it done early. So you've seen the power of Doubling Season in play. Super, super fun combo. And you get to play all the weird planeswalkers that have fun emblems. Very cool. So that was a good round 2. Let's hop into round 3. Here we go. Alright, here we go. Round 3. Okay, so we have the potential to be able to cast an Old Growth Troll. I'm down, I guess. It'd be pretty sweet if we could just grab an untapped land for turn 3. Otherwise, we'll probably just have to explore and pray that we find land 3, just in general. Old Growth Troll is a pretty sweet card in any mono green ramp deck for a number of reasons. One is that it, provides a bunch of devotion in of itself, and also it's hard to remove and get rid of your devotion because when it were to die, it'll just come back and attach to a land, which is cool. And it also just helps your ramp there, which is even better. So sweet, all the things that are happening are great. We find Old Growth Troll here. I'm thinking that we'll probably try to run in Realmbreaker and start looking for a land here, see if we can get this Doubling Season out. And okay, so this is a Book of Exalted Deeds. That is good to know. So we might end up getting locked out here if we're not careful. Here is a Renin 6, or a Renin Realmbreaker, sorry. Hopefully finding a land here. We actually don't find one here, but we do find a Utopia Sprawl, which is essentially a land for us. We'll go in here and get in for 4. Opponent can take Ren and Realm Breaker to 1. And we're getting pretty close. If they kill the Old Growth Troll, we can attach it to a land. And okay, veto combo, I guess is what we're doing. Ren goes to 1. We go to 17. Okay. Here's a Jace. That's potentially okay. What do I think about this? So what if I Utopia Sprawl in my breeding pool? Then I'll be able to Jace. Does Jace really do anything? He can make the -2 creature. That's something. I could also explore, potentially. So, let's see. What do we want to do first? Let's just make our breeding pool into a creature so that we can get in. And we will need to use it most likely in order to cast something. Now, the other thing that could happen is, what if we just use Explore instead? So we can Utopia Sprawl on Aspara's Headquarters Explore instead. Now that's something that could happen for sure. Either way, we'll go ahead and attack here. It'd be good to pressure our opponent's life total while they can not really do too much about it. And yeah, I really gotta decide if I'm going to try to keep running Realm Breaker around, which I really don't care either which way for. I mean, getting the -2 off would be pretty convenient here. Okay, so maybe I just go ahead and do the Explore thing. So we'll enchant one of the Spara's Headquarters. We will tap this for green in order to pay for it. And then we will have this choose for green as well. Oh my god. I targeted this. I meant to pay with the one that was not being targeted, but I clicked the one that was being targeted. Oh god. Well, I'd like to draw land here, so we will potentially give up our Ren and Realm Breaker. Okay, we don't even find a land. That's a bummer. So we're going to lose our Ren here, and we will have 4 mana. That's enough for 1 ring. And then we are just 1 mana away from a doubling season. And in general we are, so if this is a land, we get a doubling season. If that's the case, then we can just go ahead and do a bunch of Jaces, I suppose. Okay, sure, so they're going to take away my creature in their main phase. And then we get to put this onto, I suppose it'll just be the breeding pool. And now we actually have enough mana for doubling season, which is great. They'll kill Ren and Realm Breaker, but we're going to want to recast one anyway. The problem with veto is going to quickly become an issue, and actually, wow, so we have doubling season into the fairy, never mind. We're chilling. We take 5. We will take then more than 5. So I might just need to do a Jace thing. Jace is going to be able to just come in and -2 a crap load. Alright, so we'll have to just make a big board here. We get a 1. This is tough. I think actually no matter what we do, we die. With the exception of Divine Purge, so that is probably what I'm going to have to do right now. The 1 ring doesn't really help me here, honestly. Cavalier of Thorns is eventually good. Yeah, I think it's just Divine Purge for now. Did they just put their Exalted Deeds onto an angel that I can kill, so let's get rid of that now. Alright, they could have killed me by casting Veto and then dropping their land. So I've been given an extra turn here. Ren and Realm Breaker doesn't actually allow me to kill anything. I guess we'll just do the Jace combo right now. So Jace comes in with 6 loyalty, I can immediately -5, and now I've got a bunch of Jaces. Let's just make a bunch of Jaces real quick. We will make, I don't know, this many, sure. Right, and so for all of these, let's make some -2s. -2, bunch of creatures. Oh yeah. This is what we want to be doing here. Love it. So we can basically get to a point where if our opponent doesn't kill us with whatever life gain they can inevitably do, we'll be able to kill them. And actually, you know what? This is nice of our opponent to just concede here because they literally have lethal right now. Kind of a goofy game happening right now. So my opponent could have killed us with Veto if they had played it and then done the Temple of Silence, or not the Temple of Silence, but the Scoured Barrens. And then the other thing is they can just give Veto lifelink next turn and attack in. And that will kill me as well. So, I mean, you know, honestly speaking, I just lost this game. However, we did get to do the absolute nutty combo of Jace Cunning Castaway and Doubling Season. I have 21 Jaces on the battlefield. Now that is a board state to behold. Alright, fun round 3. Let's hop into round 4 and try to get the combo off seriously again. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So this is round 4. What do I think about this hand? Well, it doesn't cast Divine Purge. Omen of the Sea might make it be able to cast Divine Purge. And then after that, I'm just 3 mana away from Storm the Festival. I'm like going to keep this one on the strength of Omen of the Sea. If we get turn 1 Thoughtseize out of our opponent, then GG. Otherwise, I think Omen of the Sea might be able to help us get out here. Seeing one of these things makes Divine Purge a pretty happy thing to cast. And I think I'll just play Omen of the Sea and then consider shocking the Hollowed Fountain, like just if I need to. They're playing black. Okay, so this is just elves, so Divine Purge is going to line up super strong here. We'll take any sort of board wipe, and we actually don't want any Planeswalkers right now, since we don't have the mana for them. An Explore is fine. Opponent will have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana here, so it's not enough to activate Allosaurus Shepherd, even with another land drop. So I am fine to just play around the next Divine Purge. We'll explore here, finding a land. I have nothing to do with 2 mana, so we'll just go ahead and put this in tapped, and play this. So drawing a Doubling Season, we would be able to play it. Otherwise, oh, this is going to be great. I live for having Divine Purge in these sort of matchups. So the idea is, do I want to play Teferi, which would die, or just do something else? I think I'm just going to Divine Purge, and then follow it up with one of these two, Cavalier or Teferi. Alright, so there goes the board. And our opponent is going to be slow to recover, which is exactly what we want to be doing. So they played a tapped creature, so this is going to be Teferi. Teferi can uptick, and then we'll be able to use Omen of the Sea. And now we're just looking for Doubling Season. And we found it. Great job. Good job, team. Okay, so this is just a Doubling Season next play, plus Teferi, get closer to that -8 organically. Opponent's got Collected Company, sure. Play Omen of the Sea here. And I guess I should have thought to wait and see what they were going to do here. The question is, do I want to find a land? Do I want to take another Omen? Do I want to look for another Divine Purge type thing? I think I want to get a land, honestly. Which we do find. Sweet. So that is actually Storm the Festival mana now, which is potentially better than Doubling Season, but only if we hit something useful. So what happens if I shock this? So I can shock Hollowed Fountain. I'll have 6 mana available. Doubling Season, I have 1 left over. So I cannot Doubling Season and Utopia Sprawl. What I can do is Divine Purge again, because they're going to have a crap load of mana up pretty soon. Then I'll be left over with 3 mana that can do an Omen or a Utopia Sprawl. So I think I'll start with Divine Purge. It's just something that has to happen. Play Utopia Sprawl on a forest. It doesn't really matter which one in this case. and it looks like we're good off of the back of our 2 Divine Purges. Okay. Well, just in the same way that we lost our round 1 to aggro, we win round 2 on the strength of our board wipes against a creature-based deck. Alright, here we go. That was round 4. Let's play round 5. We got one last one coming up. Here we go. Alright, we're here in round 5. I think ultimately I don't really like this hand. Utopia Sprawl, you know, it is ramp. I can use that to make a white mana potentially, since I already have 3 green sources. That's actually not terrible. We'll keep it. And we do get to go first, so this makes it a little bit okay. Alright, here's Utopia Sprawl, and we'll choose white. Opponent goes Snow-Covered Forest, Elvish Mystic. I mean, so this immediately makes me feel better about Divine Purge. We get to ramp out a Realm Breaker here. I feel happy just going -2 here. We will take a Breeding Pool here. We're 2 turns away from Doubling Season. Still don't have that white mana though. Except we actually do because of Wrenn and Realm Breaker, assuming it sticks around. Werewolf Pack Leader, sure. We'll go ahead and I guess offer a trade. Do we really want to offer a trade here? I think we just want a Divine Purge. Either way it's a shock. Actually, either way it's not necessarily a shock. We will shock here. We will Wrenn +1 on this land. We'll still have 3 mana left over to do what we want to do here, and we'll get to attack in. See if they want to make the trade here. They just take it. Then I think it's Old Growth Troll here to block. End turn. When our land goes away, we can start to Divine Purge once the Old Growth Troll's taken care of. Looks like we've successfully gummed up the board. And then we shock here, play Doubling Season. We'll just submit 0 on the Wrenn. And now we sit back and block. We're going to have the surprise to Fairy Ultimate next turn if they can't kill the Doubling Season. And then we have Divine Purge afterwards. This is 3 mana again, sure. So now it's just Fairy Ultimate. Fairy -8.
I know this is hard to defeat.
And then we'll go Wrenn -2. Nice, we have a Tameo. And now we have the classic little combo here going. Now, the thing that we didn't really play around is whatever our opponent's going to do. And with this Werewolf Pack Leader, that is a bit scary. Though they really only get to draw a card here. Questing Beast does kill my Wrenn, so I do want to make the trade here with Old Growth Troll. Alright, and we get to reattach us to our forest. Lovely. And here we go. We get to exile Werewolf Pack Leader. We get to go Tameo Emblem, and now we've cleaned up the board.
Listen and learn.
Let's go ahead and take out 1, 2, and then we'll take out Ranger Class, since that can help things grow. And that is enough to make our opponent concede. Alright. Well, there's the power of overpowered Planeswalker emblems, honestly. Not necessarily overpowered, but definitely very strong once they are out. Teferi was always just the standard closer back when he was in the standard metagame, and you know he's still good enough to just take over games here in Historic. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I think we had some ups and downs here. Got absolutely bonked on in the first round with red aggro, and then, you know, took out a number of smaller green decks down the line. I think this is a fun little combo to have in our back pocket here in Historic, and while it's not the strongest thing that's possible, I can definitely imagine that this is one of the archetypes that we'll want to be keeping an eye out going forward for. As they print new cards, I imagine we'll get some fun Planeswalker emblems and just generally interesting things that we can do with this card. It's not only good in planeswalkers, but it's also good in creature tokens. And while you won't see me playing it in my next creature token video, I think that I would consider this if there's ever a spot for a high CMC card in the creature token decks. With that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see the deck list, it will be in the description of the video. And if you want to support the channel and you are a new subscriber, you can go ahead and leave a like on the video and comment in order to help us with the algorithm. And if you are not a subscriber yet, you can help out by subscribing to the channel, which is free and easy. We give you videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with bonus content sometimes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so look out for that stuff. That being said, hope you guys enjoyed. Super fun deck here. Overall great league, and I will see you in the next one.